What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're taking a quick peek over here at the Bitcoin price chart, the XRP price chart, the altcoin market, to see if we're getting ready for a bigger move to take place here in the market after being stuck here in this range for the last 11 or 12 days. Now, last week we were talking about a few different things, saying, hey, typically when we break through these, we typically go straight into capitulation, then start going right through the kind of grinding phase happening, which is what we saw back here back in 2020. Once you break through, then you just go into the grueling time period. However, that capitulation occurs immediately upon the breakdown of supports. The same thing was also true over here back in 2021 when the peak came in after Elon Musk went on a Saturday Night Live. We broke through it. Boom. Once we cracked through it, that was capitulation. Then just kind of the grind through before things could turn back up. We've really kind of already gone through that phase of just cracking through the support. And after falling $4,300, getting within $500 of this box, it just still continues to hold itself in here. So after following this for a month and a half, I would definitely say I'm more of kind of leaning in the either way kind of camp on if this is going to hold. There's one other support that is appearing in here right now. I'll hide all of this and put us on the daily time frame to show that we are sitting right on top of the 100-day moving average, still continuing to hold it in here. Now, here's the 200. You can see how we came in and pierced both of these kind of at the same time back in March during the banking kind of crisis situation. However, we're still kind of holding on top of that 100 currently right now. So it has been supportive so far. And hey, an optimistic sign for the bulls. So pretty clear price level to keep an eye on right in there. We've now hit it 2 different times after kind of like the capitulatory phase going through there. It does pierce below it, but then we do hold it the next 2 times we've touched it. So keep an eye on it. It currently sits at 26,591. So long as we're still above 26,600, there can be that hope and optimism of things turning around sooner than later. Should we go pierce through 26,600 and have a daily candle close below 26,600, typically the market has the ability to know how to work itself all the way back down to the next one. So after doing an ABC correction in here, we talked about it last week. We have still ABC'd in here. The waves of A and the waves of C are of equal length. Still waiting for this range to break after 12 days. So hard to talk about much outside of here when you're still just stuck in that range. As for XRP, the story remains unchanged from last week. The optimistic thing, hey, we're nearing like the end of time when it comes to accumulation schematics happening in here, just being in this final phase. So I'm certainly excited to talk about it all the time. I'm optimistic for 2023. I just thought, hey, we have a period of pulling back that's still going to happen later this year. Now we're just getting kind of deep into that time period. As I talked about last week, the jury is still out on this supportive level of the 200-day moving average. We compared this last week to what happened in 2020 when we capitulated with C19 and then found our support on here. Either way, I think the story is still going to be kind of the same. And I do get it at the point that we're at right now. When you get stuck in a range for Bitcoin for 12 days, when XRP is just kind of creeping down along, you get kind of tired of hearing the same thing. And it's really just because the market is acting boring and not doing anything. And to just kind of lay expectations, or at least my expectations, that it probably will still continue to be that way for XRP unless there's 2 different things that happen. One is being able to crack there above 49.50 cents. And then 2 is if we can break below the 200-day moving average. Otherwise, the price action happening in between these 2 areas, in between 41 cents and in between 49 cents, a large range, which is about 18 to 20% to the upside and then 15% to the downside. There's nothing really to draw from the information that happens in between this zone, because you have an Elliott wave in here of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And either we can break above here and say we're done, or if we find resistance at this level, we can bounce around in here for a long time. And then if we actually break through the 200-day moving average, we get to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC correction, and now we're officially done, which is exactly what we did back in here, where we got stalled out here by wave 4 within the A wave to then go on and have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this many days in and still saying there's no real information to draw on XRP in this particular range. If you get above it, then you get to say, well, it doesn't look like we're going to go on for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because we've already exceeded wave 4. We're already working our way out of there. And then if we break below the 200-day moving average, we can at least say, hey, we're going in for capitulation. It's time to get ready. But there is just nothing to say about XRP in this range. Or if you want, I can come on here every day and we could do this again, which I'm sure we will. But to those who get kind of frustrated at hearing the same thing, that's because you are stuck. XRP is stuck in a range. Bitcoin is stuck in a range. Ethereum is stuck in a range. Everything is range bound currently right now. And I've been making YouTube videos long enough to know when we get into those periods where it's just like, man, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about this for a long time. And just looking at the altcoin market, you could see just in this range really since late January in here, and then this super tight range in here for the last 2 weeks. So market waiting for some type of catalyst to arrive to get the liquidity moving in one direction. If you've been watching markets in the morning or keeping an eye really on any type of financial media, you know the debt ceiling deadline is approaching next week. Also on June 14th is the next Fed meeting, where currently the market's pricing in right now a 74% probability that the Fed has paused interest rate hikes. So in markets in the morning, we've been running through narratives saying, hey, you know, could you imagine what would happen with retail investors, you know, essentially with how they've been programmed to think about the Fed, interest rate hikes, and needing some type of narrative to kind of YOLO long the market, right? So we kind of have these catalysts right around the corner, and it's coming up next week when it comes to the debt ceiling. And then it's 3 weeks away for the Fed meeting on whether or not they've paused interest rate hikes. And so I just go through the narrative in my head very easily, and I say, okay, if they raise the debt ceiling, and then if the Fed pauses, that will be the fuel for retail investors to go giggle long. But right now, this market is kind of in a stalemate leading up to that event next week. And this is pretty much the headline every single day. If the prices are up, the prices are down in the stock market, or if the prices are flat, they all point towards debt ceiling, debt ceiling, debt ceiling. So the only reason they're doing that is to program it into our heads of worry, 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 worry about debt ceiling. If the debt ceiling does get resolved, that will create euphoric optimism. So just thought I'd do a quick little update in here showing market remaining really unchanged still heading into this week. I haven't put out a video since last Friday. We can see Bitcoin is sitting on top of the 100-day moving average currently right now. And it's been kind of a running joke over there on Twitter and in Twitter Spaces of saying the XRP price chart just isn't ready for this case to resolve yet. We talk about magical unicorn fairy dust, puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God, or a simulation. We had a lot of optimism back in March that the case was going to get wrapped up. I stuck to my little tinfoil hat theory in there saying, I don't know, the chart doesn't say that we're ready for it. And still to this point, the chart doesn't say that we're quite ready for that just yet. And if I could speculate on the outcome of the case, I have two narratives that I will speculate on how it could play out. Is that one, XRP does work down into these levels in here, and then Ripple loses the case, and then we go into a capitulation happening right in here. Everybody panic sells. Everybody's out. They give up. They're done. They've been here. They watched this case for 2.5 years. They just watch Ripple lose and they give up, only for it to eventually reach a settlement. And then the price actually ends up climbing. Or two, that nothing happens with the case is still all the way through here. And it's not until we're way over here that the case is over and Ripple wins. XRP is not a security, all that good stuff. But I've been talking about this in spaces and just in general chats saying this thing hasn't been ready. And if you want to just wrap your head around the craziness of it in general, is like, even if you don't believe in any of that, it has taken this long to get to the end of this case. Right? It somehow, take all this off, it somehow has taken all the way to this moment for it. If that's not magical unicorn fairy dust or puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God, or a simulation, I don't know what to say, man. The fact that it's even taken this long and having to get this far into the accumulation schematic to even reach this point to where we're almost done with the case, everybody can taste it on the edge of their tongue that we're right there at the end of the case. And then we can taste it right here on the chart. We're right at the end of accumulation, that these things can time themselves to occur so similarly. I'm going to stick with my tinfoil hat theory in that we're close, but we're not quite there just yet. You know, I could post YouTube videos with thumbnails and be like, oh my goodness, we're going to go to the moon, settlement inbound. You know, I try to bring it from a different perspective and a different angle that, you know, these charts tend to tell a story. The story ends really good, but it could be bumpy getting there. So I think by June 13th, the SEC has to either file some type of an appeal or turn over the Hinman emails. But either way, with those being turned over, I know everybody's really excited to see those and to run around on Twitter screaming, see how bad Bill Hinman is, see how bad the SEC is. That still doesn't impact the outcome of the case, right? That doesn't give us the resolution that we're looking for. I think people just kind of want that for their own personal principles or vendettas or anger. And I totally understand that. I've been here the whole ride, man, since this thing started in December of 2020. But when it comes to actual resolution in the case, I think we're there. I think we're going to have that resolution, by the time the fall comes around or, August and September of this year. But everybody's on pins and needles thinking we're going to get a settlement any day now. And this is the kind of stuff that helps me keep my expectations in check. I don't have an ability to see what Judge Torres is doing or Judge Netburn is doing to give the resolution. But what I can say is this thing has just behaved stupid similar to what it has done before. And the great news is we can all taste it. We're nearing the end of the case, and we can all taste it. We're near the end of accumulation. So I'm excited. We're still stuck. We've been stuck. The ranges, 49 cents, 41 cents. We'll get there. That range will eventually break. But like with everywhere in the market, we're just having to be a little bit patient right now. So again, I still think an excellent 2023. I still think Bitcoin's going to go higher. We're just having to finish a correction first, as we all twiddle our thumbs waiting for it to happen. So that's what's going on. Bitcoin's sitting there on top of the 100-day moving average. XRP's range really is irrelevant to me between 49 cents and 41 cents. I'm still skeptical that things are going to end quickly as a lot of YouTube videos continue to create hype that a settlement is inbound. I'm still skeptical of that. Keep an eye out for the big narrative that's coming next week in regards to the debt ceiling. And otherwise, just sitting here waiting for this range to eventually break. But still, my thoughts are 2023 is going to be a rock star year. But with rock star years, they are typically short-lived, only take up a tiny fraction of the entire year. And most of the time, we have to spend times in things like this. So patience is the game. We'll keep checking on it. Quick little update today. And I hope that you guys are doing great. So that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.